Brian Geisinger, our Mr. Basketball, who I discovered his Substack over the weekend. Split the action. It's about doggone time. All right, Brian, appreciate your time as always at bgeis_bird. He's also all over the place everywhere else. So if you want to get smarter about the only truly American sport, apparently, let's talk to Brian Geisinger about hoops. USA-Brazil was tight for what, like 10 minutes?
Yeah, I guess Brazil made that one push when the United States had the second unit in. They got a little loose. Steve Kerr put the starters back in, and they immediately ran away with it again. Not a super competitive game, but not really one you expected.
No, I didn't. I did not. I remember when Brazil was like a national power, international power might be a little bit of a stretch, but when Brazil was always good, when Argentina was always good, it's not the case anymore.
Yeah, and obviously, if you go back even just like a decade ago, you'd have a pretty strong Brazilian team.
Oscar Schmidt.
Also, you could go back several decades, but I was even thinking to, 12 years ago, you're going to have Nene Hilario from the NBA, Anderson Varejao, Thiago Splitter. They never quite had the guard play to sort of like ignite it, but for whatever it's worth, Brazil's still getting to the quarterfinals of the Olympics in basketball when one of the 8 teams is the United States too is not too shabby.
No. What do you make, Brian Geisinger, at bgeis_bird, split the action on Substack? What do you make of Steve Kerr's ever-altering starting lineups? I think when you've got... No, look, I'm not even knocking it, because when you have these 12 players, and we'll just go with the top 10 players, they're all used to starting and playing, 40 out of 48 minutes, and so that's always going to be a challenge anyway. But mixing and matching based on the opponent seems like an okay idea.
Yeah, not a bad idea. And certainly not only do the Americans have so many good players, but the versatility of those guys, right? I mean, you can do everything with LeBron, right? That's sort of why he's been like just the perfect basketball player for a very long time now. But Durant, Tatum, Anthony Edwards, guys that can play different roles, do different things, play different positions, guard different positions. You've seen, especially when they get to the second unit like they did yesterday against Brazil, and you've got Kevin Durant, Bam Adebayo, and Anthony Davis as a front line. Mm-hmm. Not too bad, right? And you see they're able to switch the initial screen, and then they've got Durant behind the play where he'll kick the guard out, and he'll come in, and he'll then take the center in the post and kick the Derek White or whomever else or someone else out to the perimeter. And it is cool to see that. Like, I do think guys have bought in on different roles. We've talked about this a lot, but Devin Booker, being the sort of Klay Thompson, 3-and-D off-ball player on this team, and he's shooting with that short international line shooting. I think above 60% from deep in the Olympics. Same with Anthony Edwards. So those guys have clearly feasted off that a little bit, but they've got the talent and the depth, and I think it can be matchup based, but I think for a guy like Kerr, who does coach on vibes a lot too, it is sort of not just riding the hot hand, but like who's playing well together, who's flowing well together. And sometimes that can be, this lineup outscored the opponents by X points per however many minutes they were on the floor, or it could be like more process-based, and you sort of liked how things looked defensively or offensively or how they got into transition or whatever. But it's been very fun seeing all that. And I've enjoyed seeing them mix and match, but LeBron is going to continue to start and continue to be the guy.
We've talked about this. It's just it never stops being amazing to me that as great as this roster is, it in many ways is still about LeBron and Kevin Durant. And we're talking about Kevin Durant being, by several years, LeBron's junior. I mean, in most cases, these guys are playing out the string of their careers, and they are still, when healthy, more so about Kevin than about LeBron, since LeBron's always pretty healthy. They're just maybe the two best players in this tournament, and that is with all due respect to Nikola Jokic. So yeah, I expect LeBron and KD, who's been that second unit with Anthony Edwards. They have been, for the most part, dynamite. Do we take anything out of the game against Serbia in the group play, which the United States pulled away in that game, but turned it over a bunch and really relied on Durant and Anthony Edwards to kind of create that separation in the second half?
Yeah, that was an incredible game by those two guys and LeBron. I think I mentioned it with you when we spoke last, but Serbia was dead even with Nikola Jokic on the court in that game.
Right.
So I think it's a big deal for the United States to make, which is obviously that's a win for Serbia to an extent. But I think for the United States, it's to make sure those minutes are at best sort of capped at Serbia playing dead even, because I think just under 30 minutes per game in the tournament, Jokic is averaging 19, 12, and 8. Like, he's totally ridiculous. He's totally ridiculous.
Right.
So you got to make sure to hammer Serbia in the minutes when he's not on the floor, and then at least try to play them even in those other ones. And they've got other weapons like Vasa Micic, who plays for the Hornets. He had a great game yesterday. Really good pick and roll point guard. You got Bogdanovic. Like, you've got multiple guys, like legit NBA rotation guards that can score and shoot and handle. So you got to make sure the pick and roll coverages are tight. If you're in drop coverage, how are you handling Jokic when he pops or he short rolls in the space? That's if you've got Embiid playing center. What does that look like? And if it's Anthony Davis, and I think Davis is going to be really important in this game against Serbia. Are you switching? If you do switch, what's that looking like behind the play? Because you can't just obviously have Jokic go down and maul, Drew Holiday or whatever in the post. So I think it really all starts there. And then I do kind of wonder, and we're sort of running out of games in the tournament. Like, I think Steph Curry has played pretty well. Haven't had like a big Steph shooting game.
He hasn't shot it well. That's the amazing thing. He has not shot it well at all.
From 3, I think he's actually shot it pretty well from 2 because he is unbelievable. But I think he's under 30% from deep in the tournament, if I'm not mistaken. And so you do kind of wonder, are we going to get one? Are we going to get one of the Steph games where he just, he hits 7 threes and you could be playing? It doesn't matter who you're playing,
Right?
You're going to win one of those games.
Well,
so
interestingly enough,
see what the lines look like and the defensive coverages look like for Jokic
in the last game that the U.S. played Serbia. And this is why I really am fearful of this matchup, is because they needed Kevin Durant to go 8 of 9 from the field, 5 of 5 from 3. LeBron James to have the game that he had. Anthony Edwards to have the game that he had. The U.S. made 18 of 32 3-point shots in the game. If you shoot normally from 3-point range, we are talking about a down-to-the-wire affair. And anything we know about, I don't care how good you are, when the game pressure, when the scoreboard pressure is there, everything is kind of thrown out the window. All of the thoughts about, well, we should win. They'll be a double-digit favorite against Serbia, be a 14-point favorite or so, whatever the number is. I could probably go look that up. That would be a good thing to know. But I don't anticipate this game being easy. I keep hearing people say, well, Germany's going to be the U.S.'s toughest shot for the gold medal. I think this one is incredibly difficult. Yeah,
they got to get through Serbia first. I mean, we just listed off some of the guys they have, but these are not fringe NBA players. I mean, Bogdanovic is one of the best bench scorers in the league. I know people haven't seen Vasa Micic much because he just came to the NBA as a 30-year-old rookie last season and spent half the year in Oklahoma City and then half the year in Charlotte. He was a really nice piece for the Hornets down the stretch after the Gordon Hayward trade. He's a tank. We're talking about a 6'5", 6'6", 200+ pound point guard that's strong and can finish in sort of below the rim, but finish in traffic, and then Jokic is he's totally unique in terms of like his ability to shoot and score from every level. The passing is obviously otherworldly, the offensive rebounding. And there have been times, maybe not with this current personnel, but going back to like the 2019 World Cup, when the United States struggles to either, put a team away or to really like run away with the game, it's because teams can just, take advantage and hit them on the offensive glass. And obviously Jokic is one of the best offensive rebounders in the world, if not the best offensive rebounder in the world. So, they can't, the margin of error shrinks now pretty quickly. And I know that maybe seemed a little ridiculous because they just blew the doors off of Serbia a week or so ago. But as you noted, they shot the hell out of the ball in that game. They are shooting 44% from three in the Olympics. So they do have, once they got Durant back, it really sort of allowed things to fall into place. Spot up shooting wise, and that's 44% without Curry, really, really teeing off yet either. So Serbia is going to be tough. They've got arguably the best player in the world, if not the best player in the world in the roster, and then several other, really good NBA type rotation players that can score. And they're going to be, this match is to get a medal.
Right.
The stakes are high, and it could get tight. And Serbia is going to be going. They're not going to be intimidated, obviously. So it has the recipe of a tough opponent for the United States, but the chemistry looks really good with them. They're locked in. I think the defense has been awesome so far. And I think really as long as they continue to have good flow offensively, they're set up to continue playing at the level that they have thus far.
At @BGuys_Bird, Brian Geisinger, split the action on Substack. I just looked it up as we say goodbye. USA minus 16 points over Serbia.
God.
I know. I know. It seems like they're begging you to take their money, doesn't it? BG, I'm glad the Substack is going. I look forward to tons of stuff, both pro and college. I appreciate your time, my man. We'll talk soon.
As always, you guys have a nice day.
You too.